Finn Balor's demon persona has returned, so we'll check out the implications with that. We'll also see what's up with the Wyatts and more. Starting things off with the big return news for Finn Balor's demon persona. Finn's demon persona dominated things in NXT back in 2015 and 2016. Every single time the demon appeared in a match, it was just this huge spectacle that you just had to tune in and see. Now, the demon initially got off to a good start on the main roster as well. The demon won his first match on the main roster back in 2016, and that match was for the Universal World title. So things started off great there for the demon on the main roster. But then injuries took place, and both Finn and the demon persona lost some steam, and they never really climbed back up to the top of the mountain. The demon went missing for a few years before being brought back to face Roman Reigns in 2021. The demon ended up losing that match after the top rope mysteriously snapped on him. Now, the demon wouldn't be seen again until 2023 for a match against Edge. And this was also the first time that the demon had been portrayed as a heel. But once again, the demon picked up a loss here against Edge. And there was some controversy here with this match outcome. There were reports that Triple H originally had the demon picking up the win against Edge, but how Vince McMahon allegedly came back in and changed the winner to be Edge. Meaning that 2026 is technically the first time that Demon's being booked on the main roster by someone that's not Vince McMahon. So the Demon's on a massive losing streak right now. He hasn't picked up a win since 2019, and he needs a win badly. And it's just been announced and officially confirmed that the Demon will appear at WrestleMania 42 to take on Dominik Mysterio, marking his first appearance in over 3 years. Fans are a bit upset that they went ahead and spoiled the Demon's appearance at WrestleMania 42. The fans think it would have been a fun surprise to keep fans buzzing on just the possibility of the Demon showing up at WrestleMania and then leave everyone guessing on if he'll show up or not. Finn flat out said in an interview back in January that he himself hates when it's advertised in advance and how he'd like for it to be a surprise as well. But he did not get his wish. It was spoiled and advertised weeks in advance. Now, the reason why it was announced ahead of time is obviously related to ticket sales. Companies really trying to move those WrestleMania tickets, so they're announcing everything ahead of time in hopes that it gets people to come to the show. So that's why they didn't leave it as a guessing game with the Demon. They wanted to confirm it and then see if it helps drive more people to the event. But Finn's idea is a great one. It would have been a nice, genuine surprise one day to see the Demon just arrive unannounced. That adds an extra level of excitement to it when it just comes out of nowhere. Now, as far as the Demon's match at WrestleMania 42, both Finn and the Demon need this win desperately bad. It's been literal years since Finn Balor himself has picked up a meaningful singles win, so he needs this badly, especially if they plan on taking him on a big babyface run as the year continues. And the Demon has picked up losses in his 2 most recent matches, so you don't want that losing streak to continue to 3 straight losses for the Demon. So it's a must-win for Finn in every way that you look at it. As far as the future for the Demon and his usage goes, that's probably the biggest unpredictable part right here. Ever since 2019, we haven't really seen the Demon getting used on a consistent basis. His appearances as of late have always been several years apart from one another. Those appearances being 2019, 2021, 2023, and now 2026. So over the last few years, the Demon has become an actual rare attraction with several years between his appearances. It's possible that the Demon could go missing again for another 2 to 3 years after WrestleMania 42. Finn has said himself that it all comes down to the right story for his appearances. Obviously, the personal feud with Dominik Mysterio in the Judgment Day was the perfect story to bring the Demon out. And as far as his next appearance goes, we'll have to wait and see what stories Finn gets himself involved with, and if it makes logical sense for the Demon to get involved in those plans. Now, some updates are finally happening for Uncle Howdy and the Wyatt Sicks. It's been a rough few years for the Wyatts. The debut was one of the most amazing and memorable events of the modern era, but everything after that has been, unfortunately, dull and forgettable. It's been a shame because there were a lot of high hopes and expectations for this continuation of Bray Wyatt's legacy, but they have not had a standout feud or moment at all over the last 2 years. And it's gotten to a point where, sure, they're still around, but it feels like the company's pretty much given up on them and not putting much time or effort into their direction, therefore making them seem directionless and extremely uninteresting. More evidence of the company giving up on them has been their most recent and current feud against Solo Sikoa and MFT. This feud between the Wyatts and MFT is teetering around a 7-month time frame in length, and no one in the world can explain why they're still feuding. They had Solo Sikoa steal the Wyatt lantern from January to April before Tama finally gave it back to the Wyatts. Now, a lot of fans thought that the Wyatts getting the lantern back would be the end of this feud, but of course it's not. We should have known better than to think that was the ending point. The company uploaded a digital exclusive promo of the Wyatt Sicks members holding the lantern and explaining what it means to them. Eric Rowan touched on how it's his personal way of still feeling Bray and Brody's presence with them. And the other members also shared how much that lantern has guided them. The promo clip of every member sharing what the lantern meant to them was a phenomenal clip altogether. The down part was that it was not a part of the actual Smackdown broadcast. It was just an online exclusive. And fans were bothered by that because there's enough time to feature all of the celebrities on Smackdown, but apparently not enough time to show this amazing promo from the Wyatts. But the other downside to that Wyatt promo is how Uncle Howdy implies that the issues with Solo Sikoa and MFT are not over, and how they're going to make them pay for stealing the lantern. So that never-ending feud will now continue even after the Wyatts have got the lantern back. At this point, it's hard to really predict when this feud will actually be over for good. But maybe the Wyatts and MFT will have one final match together and hopefully go their separate ways, because fans are extremely burnt out on this feud, and there's no story left here at all. They have started to tease something between Solo and Royce Keys, so maybe that's another good sign that they are getting ready to move on from Wyatts versus MFT. Now, as far as what the Wyatts get up to next after wrapping up the long feud with MFT, it's really hard to predict. The Wyatts are a pretty big faction, and there's not many other factions for them to collide with right now on SmackDown outside of MFT. Also, add in the fact that the creative team doesn't really appear to be that passionate about the Wyatts, and that really makes their future look a bit uncertain. They could eventually feud with the Judgment Day. Wyatts versus Judgment Day was something that was originally planned for 2024, but it kept getting scrapped and delayed. So maybe they eventually turn back to their original plans for Judgment Day versus the Wyatts. The Wyatts' objective and plot has been extremely lost as of late, but back in 2024, they came in with the intention of coming after anyone that had treated their family wrongly. And the Judgment Day is extremely guilty of that. Of course, you think of what Dominik has done to Ray and how he's treated him in recent years. And also, all of the Judgment Day members over the last few years that got brutally betrayed by other members in the group. So there is some motive and potential there for the Wyatts to come after the Judgment Day for that reason. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.